Hello, children. Happy Thursday. Before we start today's lesson, I just want to talk to you about some of the work that I received yesterday. So yesterday, I asked you to improve some sentences, trying to use all of the things that we've looked at this week. And I had some mixed responses. Most of the work that I received, I was really impressed with in 4SB. I don't know what the case is in 4AF and 4MJ, but I will be finding out tomorrow. So I just wanted to look at one of the sentences that I asked you to improve, which was Peter looked at the clouds on the mountain. Now, I've got two very different responses from some children in 4SB. The first one is, Peter gazed at the colossal ice-lacquered mountain that looked like an iceberg. Furthermore, directly above, he was astonished by the clouds that changed shape every time he blinked. You can see in there we've got some great adjectives: colossal, ice-lacquered, which comes from our work earlier in the year in Year 4, when we were describing another setting. Like an iceberg, so we've got a simile in there. Furthermore, which is a great time connective. And then we've got clouds that change shape every time he blinked. We've got an expanded noun phrase in there as well, which is fantastic. It was a brilliant effort. I was blown away. I nearly fell off my chair in the kitchen when I was marking it. And then underneath we've got another example. Peter gazed at the clouds on the mountain. Now, the child who's done the second sentence has only changed looked for gazed, and after all the work that I put into yesterday and making the slide, I was a little bit disappointed that there wasn't a bit more there, not even an adverb or an adjective to describe the mountain. So children, I really want you to think about how much effort you're putting into these written tasks, because there are some children that are going above and beyond. That first example is amazing and was much more than I expected. The second example, it wouldn't be accepted in the classroom, so I'm afraid it's not really good enough for a Year 4 standard. So yeah, let's concentrate on the positive. That first one was absolutely amazing. If you are finding it hard to type, children, because I know I'm much quicker at writing than I am typing, even though I can type reasonably fast, it might be easier for you to write your work and then send it into the year group email. I know if I was working at home, I'd much prefer to do that, because I can write quicker, cross out quicker, and change things around quicker. So it's just something to think about. If you do want to send your work in and take a picture of it on your tablet or your mum or your dad's phone, someone in the family, you can send it to year4@bluecoatfederation.co.uk. Right, let's get on with today's lesson. So today we're learning to write show not tell sentences. Why, you ask? I just want to show you very quickly, and I think the best way of doing it is an example. So a tell sentence. Gazing across the lagoon, Peter thought that his home was wonderful. Simple enough sentence. Nice fronted adverbial. It's telling the reader how Peter feels. The sentence underneath, though, shows you how Peter feels. Let me just share that with you. Gazing across the lagoon, Peter took in a deep breath and marvelled at the beauty of the place he called home. So this is showing the reader that the place that Peter lives in is so beautiful that it takes his breath away, almost. Yes, he takes a deep breath and marvels at it. He's marvelling at the beauty. It's much more descriptive, and it shows the reader what it's like there. It's not telling the reader. So hopefully, by completing some more examples now, you'll have a better understanding. Again, this is something we have covered in Year 4, so it shouldn't be anything new to you. So, I've got my tell sentence. He walked towards the cave, and all of a sudden, he felt terrified. Now, it's straight away, it's just telling me how Peter feels. I want to show the reader how he feels, so I want to think about the senses. How's he feeling? Can he smell anything? What can he see? Can he touch anything? How does your body react when you feel scared? These are the kind of things that I want to write in my show sentence. So, here we go. You may even want to pause the video now and write down a list of things that you feel when you're terrified. What happens to your body when you're terrified? And these might help you see if you're close to my ideas. So, I'm going to go for, I don't like that he walked towards the cave. I'm going to use approaching the cave. Okay. Approaching the cave. So I'm thinking the muscles are going to tighten on his chest because he's nervous and he's scared. He's terrified. So, approaching the cave, the muscles of Peter's apostrophe. Yes. Approaching the cave, the muscles of Peter's chest tightened. And something else that happened. Of his heart pounding, like a drum. Could use a simile there. But I think I'm going to go for his palms getting sweaty. Sometimes when you're nervous, you start to sweat a bit, and your palms get a bit shaky or a bit sweaty. So, approaching the cave, the muscles of Peter's chest tightened, and the palms of hands began to sweat. Okay. So you can see now we've gone from telling the reader that he was terrified to showing the reader that he's terrified, or he's nervous at least. Approaching the cave, the muscles of Peter's chest tightened, and the palms of his hands began to sweat. I don't really think that's showing he's terrified. I might need to add a bit more. The muscles of Peter's chest tightened as he struggled to stay calm. There we go. Approaching the cave, the muscles of Peter's chest tightened as he struggled to stay calm, and the palms of his hands began to sweat. Do you know what? I might go for tremble, because I want to show he's terrified, and that's more nervous, as I said. And I'm going for terrified. Approaching the cave, the muscles of Peter's chest tightened as he struggled to stay calm, and the palms of his hands began to tremble. Okay, much better. It's almost explaining to the reader that he's terrified without saying terrified. That's what we're trying to do today. Okay, let's have a look at another example. So this time I've got, he smelt the gunpowder in the air and knew that the ship was close. So straight away, it's telling the reader what's going to happen. And with this sentence, I almost want to hide what it is. I think you may remember earlier in the year when we'd done a suspense story that we hid the threat. So I almost want to do that now. So let's have a go. Stench of, I don't know whether you can hear that noise in the background, but a very large aircraft is going over the top. I think it's a naval aircraft of the Royal Air Force. It was huge. So sorry about that. It distracted me. Where were we? The smell of gunpowder. He smelt the gunpowder in the air and knew that the ship was close. The stench of gunpowder. I'm going to go for the stench of gunpowder invaded Peter's nostrils. That's showing that it's not a very nice smell because it's invading his nostrils. Definitely used that earlier on in the year for some writing. You may recognise it. The stench of gunpowder invaded Peter's nostrils. I don't want to say it's a ship, so I'm going to use the part of a ship, and then the reader can try and, well, they'll infer what it is that's coming. The stench of gunpowder invaded Peter's nostrils. As white sail of a ship came on that ship. No, I don't want to say of a ship because that's saying it's a ship. As a white sail. Okay, as a white sail drifted through the mist. Drifted through. Okay, so it's gone from smelling gunpowder and knowing that it's a ship to stench of gunpowder invaded Peter's nostrils. It's showing that it's not a very nice smell and it's close. As a white sail drifted through the mist. This sail could belong to anything. In fact, maybe sail does reveal too much and it shows it's a ship. As a white object, maybe drifted through the mist. A colossal. I couldn't remember how to spell colossal. There we go. The stench of gunpowder invaded Peter's nostrils as a colossal white object drifted through the mist. There we go. You don't know it's a ship. It's showing the reader what's happening. Disguising it quite well as well, rather than just saying, here's a ship coming. And children, if you want to pause it just before this first one, and think about what you could do. I mean, I would list, or I would, in the middle, I would write mist and think about things that you could say to show that Peter couldn't see. The mist is so thick. I don't want to say the mist was very thick so Peter couldn't see very well. I want to show the reader that he can't see very well. So what sort of things do you do when you can't see very well? Well, I usually reach my hands out in front of me, almost fumble around. I might stumble because I can't see where I'm going, so whatever is at my feet, I can't see the ground. There may be rocks and I'm falling over. So, in fact, I think I'm going to use stumbling. Stumbling over rocks. Something else on the floor. Grass? No. Holes in the ground. Roots, tree roots. Stumbling over rocks and tree roots. Upturned tree roots. Tree roots. Stumbling over rocks and upturned tree roots. Peter. So Peter searched desperately for something familiar. Okay, so he's looking for something that he recognises in the dark, in the mist. It shows that he's desperate. He can't see. So rather than just telling the reader that he couldn't see very well because of the mist, we've got stumbling over rocks and upturned tree roots. Peter searched desperately for something familiar. Okay. And finally, everywhere you looked, the island was full of life. So that's telling the reader that everywhere you look, there's things that you consider as alive. So you can imagine animals, birds flying, waves crashing, an abundance of plants, lots of plants in the area. So have a think. Show the reader what's going on. I don't want to tell them it's full of life. I want to show them it's full of life. So what I think I'm going to use is a sentence of 3, which again is something that we've used in our toolkits. So I think I'm going to go with water crashing against rocks. Water crashing against rocks. And I'm doing a sentence of 3. So I will need a comma. Water crashing against rocks. And smell. Yeah, because I'm going to have everything fill in the air. So these are sounds that Peter can hear, or anyone that is in the setting of Neverland can hear. Water crashing against rocks. Sweet smell of flowers. That covers the plants. It's water. I'm going to have something to do with animals now. Birds. I want cawing, hooting, howling. No, that sounds quite fluttering. And the fluttering of wings shows that there's birds there. Water crashing against rocks, the sweet smell of flowers, and the fluttering of wings. Yeah. Okay. So instead of me telling you it's full of life, I'm showing you it's full of life with all the things that can be heard. Remember, we don't have the comma when doing a sentence of 3 here, because the two ideas are separated by and. Okay, so hopefully now, you've seen me showing you how to change these tell sentences into something a bit more interesting, something where the reader's got to do a bit of thinking, even though it shows them what's going on and they're able to see. They are much more interesting to read, and it's not just this, then this, then this. There's more description. It's more interesting to read. So now I'm going to show you what I want you to do. So on Purple Mash, I have set up a to-do into write, and I've put a title at the top, show not tell sentences, and then I've just put a little description. I've changed the sentences to show the reader what is happening in the setting. So I've given you 5 sentences. They are the 5 that I discussed on the slides that I've just shown you. And what I want you to do is show me instead of them telling me. So good luck. All I can say is try your best. It might be worth writing down all of your ideas before you start writing. And again, if you do want to write instead of typing them up, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. Send your email into year4@bluecoatfederation.co.uk. I know there's a girl in my class that's doing it, and I was amazed at her handwriting as well. It's absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much. Take care. And I look forward to reading your next pieces of work. Goodbye. That sound all right?